So I'm proud to announce that on the show right now, none other than acting superstar Jonah Hill.
Hi, how are you?
Jonah, thank you for coming on the show, man.
Oh, not a problem, man. It's a pleasure.
How have things been going? What movies are you working on right now?
Well, I'm still working on the 21 Jump Street movie. It's like my pet project. Just finished doing a bunch of stuff with Judd Apatow, so you know how that is. It's Hollywood, baby.
Jonah,
Hollywood. It's awesome.
I'm getting the feeling you're not really Jonah Hill.
Why? Come on, now. Why would anybody say that? It's just kind of it's a little rude, don't you think?
Well, for starters,
wow.
You sound nothing like Jonah Hill.
I have a cold.
And I just checked IMDb. There is no news of a 21 Jump Street movie.
Okay, well, whatever.
Who are you really?
All right. Well, this is John. John of the John blog.
All right, well, that was quick.
Yeah, it didn't take long.
Now,
it's a lot faster than it happened in real life, I guess.
Yeah. Now, tell us the story. For those of you listening, John is infamous for being the creator of Jonah Hill _Jew, the Twitter account, which
I wouldn't say infamous.
which a lot of people thought was Jonah Hill, myself included. Now, what was the amount of followers you had by the time that the news had broke that you weren't Jonah Hill?
I think it got up to 6,000 at my last count. I did lose track because, once you have a celebrity account, those numbers just start piling up when people, believe that you're an actual celebrity. So
now, okay, let's go back to the beginning. Why did you decide to make a fake Twitter account for Jonah Hill in the first place?
Well, it's funny because I was actually at work, and I had a coworker who, at this point, it's been so long, I don't even remember who it was that he got excited about, but he was following some celebrity Twitter account, and he was telling me how this guy replied to him, and I have no idea why I can't remember who it was, but the whole point was, I pointed out to him, I was like, you realize it's probably a fake. It's most likely a fake. And this is before Twitter started doing, verified accounts. Very shortly before that. So I told him, I was like, that's a fake. He didn't buy it, and I feel kind of bad about it because he was so excited. But
John, the John blog crusher of dreams.
Yeah, pretty much. So he basically told me, it's like, well, can you do something like that? And I told him, I was like, I could totally make a fake profile and probably make it work. I really didn't think it was going to go as far as it did, but that was the genesis of it, basically. It was kind of a dare.
Now, why Jonah Hill?
Well, I was thinking of, first off, you have to find, does anybody actually have, or the person that you're going to pick, does that person already have a Twitter account? And if they don't, who can you think of that would most likely have a Twitter account? And Superbad was still pretty big at the time. I really like Jonah Hill. I think he's a funny, witty guy. He's pretty quick on his feet, that kind of stuff. And I just kind of looked at his stuff online. I can't remember who I looked at before. I think I was looking at Jason Segel, the guy who did Forgetting Sarah Marshall. He's on How I Met Your Mother. I was really close to doing that. And there's a guy who already runs a fake Jason Segel, so I went with Jonah Hill. That was my second choice. Michael Cera was another one, obviously for the Superbad thing, but a bunch of people are already doing that. So I picked Jonah Hill, and one of the other things that I was kind of disgusted with was the quality of the fake accounts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not gonna have Johnny Depp saying things like, "What up, G's," on his Twitter. It was just really, really poor.
Yo, those waffles I had were banging.
Exactly right. Yeah, I really buy that Johnny Depp thinks waffles are banging. So I actually went really detailed into it. I mean, I decided I was going to post pictures on TwitPic. I was doing a play at the time, and I did some backstage pictures and put it up there on his Twitter account, on the Jonah Hill Twitter account, saying, "This is from the set of my movie," things like that.
Yeah.
I picked a Twitter picture. I found one online of him with Kanye West, and it was just funny to me seeing Jonah Hill hanging out with Kanye West. Like, so I was like, this is probably something he would do. This is essentially, this guy might be famous to an extent, but you could still tell he's kind of like, he's the overweight kid who still isn't sure about his fame, and he's probably going to post something like that. That, oh my God, I'm hanging out with Kanye West.
Now I would say the point that really, I think, blew this to the biggest level was when you started tricking other celebrities.
Yeah, that was fun.
Into thinking that you were Jonah Hill.
I needed cred. I really needed, because even when you do that, when you start up an account and you start posting pictures and stuff like that, it's really not enough. So one of the things I decided to do is try to find, try to start talking to celebrities, and on Twitter, obviously, to get their attention. The only real way to do that is to do, replies and just kind of hope that they see him. And Doug Benson, he's a pretty big comedian. He's on Twitter. He's actually got a really funny Twitter account. I met him in Austin once on the street. He had just done a show, and he was higher than a kite.
Well, that's Doug Benson.
Exactly. I got my picture taken with him and everything. So I started, going back and forth with him as Jonah Hill with jokes, and he finally added me, and he sent me a direct message going, is this really Jonah Hill? And I told him, yeah, I met you in Austin that one time, and we were talking about this and that. I was hoping he would remember that, and that would be enough. And he sent me a message back. He was like, we met before that. Do you not remember that? And it was kind of one of those oh shit moments. And what's sad is, I don't know if it's because Doug likes the weed, but maybe he forgot about Google. Because I went on Google. Literally all I did was put in Doug Benson, Jonah Hill. And one of the first things that came up was Jonah Hill and a couple other familiar people that I can't remember. They were at an event which was a CD release party for Doug Benson's comedy album. So I just looked at some of the details. It was just a little blurb. It was in somewhere like in L.A. It actually said, I think it was probably at the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater, if I'm not mistaken. So I found this in seconds and responded pretty quickly. I was like, it was at your CD release party, dumbass. And right off the bat, he sends out a tweet to, his thousands of followers saying, hey, this is really Jonah Hill. So that's when I got started, and I got a whole bunch of followers. I got Nia Vardalos, who wrote and directed my Big Fat Greek Wedding. She started flirting with me online. It was great. She would send me messages about how cute I was, and yeah, it was really surreal.
Now, I read your blog, and a couple entries ago, this was probably months ago,
yeah.
You had actually admitted that one of the St. Mort show is sponsored by Geekscape.net, and one of our frequent co-hosts is the lovely and beautiful Felicia Day.
Oh, okay.
And I recall reading that she was talking to you, and you had no clue who she was.
Yeah, that... Man, this is a lot of people. A lot of people hate me for this because I sometime last year was the first time I actually finally sat down and watched Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog. I heard so much about it, but I don't know why. I just never saw it. I think I saw maybe like the first one online or bits and pieces of it. Somebody had mentioned Felicia Day's account, and I went on there, and she wasn't. She's obviously already, like one of the geek goddesses out there, and she's ingrained in the minds of all these nerds and stuff, for being Felicia Day and everything that she does. I didn't know anything about her background at all. I thought she was funny, and she had posted some links to a couple of videos that she had done recent at that time. So I still had no clue. I didn't really bother like IMDbing her or anything like that. But yeah, I started talking to her back and forth, and really, really thought maybe she was like a struggling actress, comedian who had just a little bit of Twitter cred. I had no idea she was the girl from Dr. Horrible and everything else, So a lot of people hated me. So you had this goddess for us online, and you didn't do anything with it. So Yeah, I screwed up there.
Now, the breaking point, I guess, would be the combination of the Jon Favreau conversation, and also Jonah Hill finding out about the Twitter.
That's when it got really weird. That's when it got really weird.
Now, was Jonah's response what you expected, or were you kind of disappointed by his...
I was bummed out. I really, really was bummed out. I'll be honest with you. I mean, one of the things that I really, really was expecting, to be honest with you, was one of the points for me picking Jonah Hill was if he finds out about it, he might think it's funny. You know, it's not like you picked, Sean Penn, who doesn't have a sense of humor whatsoever. You don't pick someone like that because you know that nothing's going to come from it. You go with someone like Jason Segel or Michael Cera or Jonah Hill because you're thinking maybe they'll think it's pretty funny. I didn't have any delusions like, oh, this is going to be, something that is going to make me huge.
Yeah, he's going to become my best friend, and I'm going to be an actor.
Yeah, he's going to be my buddy. And, I'm going to be in all his movies. And, but no, but the reaction was basically just as icy as I guess you would expect it to be from like a Sean Penn or something. I never got contacted directly, but this whole house of cards came tumbling down because, like you said, Jon Favreau, he's pretty popular on Twitter right now, but at the time, I believe he was solely running his Twitter simply to promote, all the behind-the-scenes stuff while he was shooting Iron Man 2. And so I went on there, and I forget exactly how that got started. I just did the same thing where I did @replies, and he was like, oh, hey. And he started sending me messages about how I should start hosting. He was dead serious. The way he was talking to me in DMs, that he was serious, that he really wanted to start that, I think it's called Dinner for Five on IFC, that show where it was just a bunch of guys sitting around. Jon Favreau was like, a round table talking about movies. He was like, would you be interested in if we relaunch that and being the host for something like that? And it was kind of cool. And I was like, okay, so he obviously believes that I'm me. And I was like, I'm kind of working on projects and stuff like that. The coolest was he sent me a picture to me as Jonah Hill that was the Iron Man suit. So I think I got to see the Iron Man 2 suit before anybody else did. He was like, as long as he's like, I trust you not to circulate this, but I'll send you a shot of the suit. So that was really cool. But we went back and forth because he sent out a tweet that was talking about helicopters that were flying over the set. He's like, oh, there's paparazzi flying over the set in their helicopters trying to get pictures. And as Jonah Hill, I responded, with a smart-ass tweet, which was something along the lines of, I'm totally flying my private, helicopter over the Iron Man 2 set. I hope Jon Favreau sees me. And we just went back and forth. He sent a reply, this is all on Twitter, so everybody could see, because, you want to kind of have the back and forth going there. So he went right back at me with, oh, is that you? It's like, I thought I saw a meatball sub fall out of the helicopter or something like that. So, it was playful the whole time. I went back like, oh, man, call off your security. I'm going to bungee jump after my sandwich. And all this crap. It was really cool. It was great. So later on, right after Father's Day, I still remember this. I think it was the day after Father's Day. Favreau sends out this tweet, and it was, I just emailed Jonah Hill and found out that Jonah Hill Jew is not him. And that was it. That's when everything started kind of crashing down and stuff. There was a segment on there's an E show, like an Entertainment Tonight type show on the E channel, like a half-hour entertainment show, and they interviewed him on the set of that movie that came out a while back, Get Him to the Greek. They're still shooting it, and they interviewed him and asked him about the fake thing, because apparently E at one point posted one of the tweets I did as Jonah Hill. The Jonah Hill thing, everything that I tweeted as Jonah Hill were just the same jokes that you'll see on my Twitter account now. They're just one-liners,
Yeah.
And one of the ones I put out was that I was at a deli, and some guy asked me or told me that I should remake Groundhog Day, and that movie is sacred. And that was my tweet as Jonah Hill. And this is the kind of identity that I had at that time was, my own Twitter account at the time was basically the boring stuff, the headed to work or eating a sandwich, the kind of stuff that nobody likes. The Jonah Hill stuff was just for the jokes. And when I sent that out, I mean, this is kind of like the stuff that's kind of based in real life. There was a conversation I had with somebody, and somebody said that they should remake Groundhog Day, and I was like, you don't need to touch that movie. And so I decided to send a tweet as Jonah Hill, making it sound like somebody approached me with that. Well, they put that tweet, I didn't know this, but they put this on their show. I guess they did like a celebrity tweet of the day. They put Jonah Hill, and they put that tweet up. So whenever they found out that the account was fake, they went to Jonah Hill and they were talking to him, and he was like, yeah, that sucks, and why do I have to be in a deli? Because I'm Jewish? That's kind of anti-Semitic. This was a huge overreaction from this guy. And I still remember, like, on my blog, this is before I came out and admitted everything, I posted something saying, I went with deli because restaurant takes up more characters.
I remember the day, my final question, I guess, would be the day that you made the giant reveal about everything, and you posted the blog explaining everything. Were you? What was the follower reaction to it?
It was really, really surprising. I don't know if it was because of the fact that I spent time to write exactly why I did it, or explain what was going on, or give the details behind it and everything. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I didn't think it was that huge. That it was going to get this huge,
Yeah.
And of course I expected to lose like a ton of followers. You dick, I hate you. Also, the timing of it. Whenever you admit to everything when you're caught, does give it a lot less. I don't know, like a lot less weight to it. So when I posted that blog, my expectation was to see just a ton, just everything to go away and go back to where it was, and I'll be back to maybe like my 40 or go back to my regular Twitter account, which would be like 40 or 50 people at the time, just friends or other people that I knew from MySpace or Facebook. And the response was amazing because, I mean, I did put at the end of the blog was like, the Jonah Hill Twitter account was suspended, obviously. But right before it was suspended, I was lucky enough to get that link posted on the Jonah Hill thing to my blog, which I think was on Blogspot at the time. And everybody could read, what was, what the whole reasoning was, the whole story, pretty much everything I just explained in this interview, that, what happened and how I did it. And at the end of it, I posted a link to my regular Twitter account and say, this is me, this is where I'm at. I'm just going to start posting all my goofy jokes and stuff there. But, if anybody wants to come over, if anybody wants to, scream at me or whatever. I think I got maybe 2 or 3 people, and that was it, that said something like, oh man, you suck or whatever. But the response was incredible. I mean, I got probably like a third of Jonah Hill's followers come follow me over there that I've been lucky enough to build off of just with my smart ass, Twitter account. But yeah, I mean, I really can't answer. I don't know how the backlash wasn't that bad.
Okay, so what if you hadn't gotten caught? How much longer would you have eventually admitted it, or were you probably just going to ride that until you were caught?
Well, here's what's funny. When right before I got caught on it, I was trying to focus more on my writing, because I'm a writer, whatever. I like to do fiction and stuff like that. And there comes a point where playing on the internet kind of overtakes all the other hobbies that you would rather do. But what had happened was there was these kids. At least I assume they were kids. I don't know. They looked like a couple of teenage girls that were running a Twitter account, kind of posting their goofy jokes or whatever. And when they were following me as Jonah Hill, they responded to one of my tweets, and it was a pretty funny reply. And so I responded back as Jonah Hill with something like, "Oh, that was really funny," or "Ha, I don't know." But later on, I noticed that they had posted like this big thing of like, "Oh my God, Jonah Hill talked to us," and we got a reply. You know how people get, obviously, when you get a celebrity thing. a celebrity response.
Right back to your coworker.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. I mean, full circle. So I remember the look on his face when I explained to my coworker that, you know, it wasn't a real account and that it was, you know, and explained why. And then the realization afterwards that, you know, you probably really, really dashed this guy's, you know, his day. And so I thought about that and I was like, this is kind of wrong when you get to this point. And I was thinking I shouldn't reply to anybody, but then I was like, what's the point of even doing it? Yeah. You know? Initially it was to see if I could do it, and then you kind of get really, really high on the, you know, the fact that you're talking to Jon Favreau back and forth. You know, stuff like that could go anywhere. But after I realized that, you know, there are these kids who are really excited that they met Jonah Hill, and even though there was going to be quite unlikely that it was going to continue or anything like that, it wasn't going to last. There was going to be a reveal. I just didn't think it was going to be after, you know, Jonah Hill did Letterman. That was just weird. All
right, well, that's all we have time for. Where can my listeners follow you to hear the real you and not the fake you?
Well, I run my blog. It's thejohnblog.com. It's a Tumblr account, but that'll take you straight to my Tumblr. And I'm on Twitter as the John Blog. I've also got a podcast that I do with my wife called Fridge Magnets. So check us out on iTunes. And it was great talking to you, man.
All right, thanks for coming by, John.